Well, jumping from MLB to Gopher football here, as people, as the GM in the movie Little Big League used to say, man, Commissioner, it's already April and people are already talking about Gopher football. So we're gonna talk a little Gopher football here, and Gophers have been on the recruiting trail hot here as of recently. Currently have the number 14 team in the country according to 24/7 Sports, and my guy Ryan Burns down in the Twin Cities. But I mean, I know it's early. It's easy to get our hopes up. Seems like every year around this time, oh my God, we're number 10 in the country because, all the, SEC schools and a lot of the other schools haven't filled out their recruiting classes yet. The Gophers seem to always get a big chunk of kids in June and July here. So, and but getting kids committed early. But Gophers have been on a little hot trail this past few weeks. As we've had a number of commits here. Uh, this past weekend we had, I want to say there was 15 recruits on campus in the Twin Cities for the Summer Splash Weekend 2.0. Gophers, I believe they got around 6 or 7 commits out of this past weekend, so that's huge. A couple that I kind of noted from this past weekend is West Bloomfield, Michigan, being able to get uh, named Jeremiah Benson, being able to go into another Big Ten team's backyard, or I guess a couple of them, when Michigan and Michigan State to get a D-line commit out of there is going to be big. You know, Big Ten, it's Big Ten country over there. Being able to get, a big 6'3", 265-pound interior D lineman out of there, it's super raw. You know, he'll be a difference maker in a few years once he gets in the Gopher weight room and develops. And another guy that really kind of stood out to me, the Gophers have had a lot of luck this offseason recruiting offensive line here. And this guy fits the mold even more. From Akron, Ohio, is Lucas Teal Sash or something like that. It's 6'7", 300-pound offensive tackle. I mean, he's a dude. Man has multiple Power Five offers. Going to be a big time player for the Gophers in the future. I want to say we have 7 old linemen committed right now, or 6 or 7, and they're all pretty highly rated too. So this is shout out to Coach Callahan and getting the boys ready to go. And the Gophers have had some great old linemen these past few years, and had a lot of luck in NFL draft here. So, but arguably the most notable though, for especially Big Ten football fans, Gophers got the number one player out of Wisconsin here. This was actually a few months ago, but Gavin Meyer out of Janesville, Wisconsin, number one rated player in that state, offensive tackle. That is a big win for Gopher fans, obviously. But Wisconsin always kind of dominated the Gophers because they have these homegrown, Wisconsin, cheese-fed boys that are gonna run through you for 4 quarters in a row. But being able to get him, and last year we also got number 2 player out of Wisconsin, 4-star offensive tackle Benjamin Roy to come to the Gophers. We stole him from the Badgers last year as well. So Coach Callahan maybe creating a little pipeline for Wisconsin old linemen here. So that's nice to see it. And top of our class is highlighted by 2 Minnesota kids right now, and Howie Johnson from Forest Lake, who is a dog, and Andrew Trump from Corey High School. I used to play Andrew, or yeah, Andrew, my senior year of high school. He was a freshman, and he was one mammoth freaking human being.
And I think, what did you say? We're 14th right now in the nation.
Yep.
And that's not including two of the better Minnesota prospects, depending on where you're looking at, one or two. Like, for sure in that top three, Andrew's in there, Howie's in there, top four. Depending where you go, pretty interchangeable. Roman Voss, pretty undisputed number one.
Yeah,
He's right now, he's deciding between the Gophers
and Alabama.
and Alabama.
Yeah, he was on his official to Alabama this past weekend. I believe that he has his official coming up with the Gophers here soon, or That might have been last weekend. Yeah, I think that was last weekend. But man, if the Gophers can get him, that might. And he's a big time athlete. Small school kid. So I mean, he plays quarterback for Jackson County Central right now. Get him in, the tight end room, D end room, whatever you want him to play. He's gonna develop. He's gonna become a big time ball player.
For sure. I'm sure that's the one where you send the house in NCAA 25. He's a send the house prospect, and when you can get into a top two in a prospect like that, you especially a homegrown one like that, and it's no other Midwest schools, which I think will help a little bit. I was a little surprised not to see Iowa in that contention.
Mm,
Definitely not going to complain about that, but I would think he'd want to keep that. But if he wants to come to Minnesota, I'd gladly take him.
mm. Yeah,
And
uh, since we're gonna talk about him a little bit, I uh, I was a little surprised to see Iowa State and Nebraska in there, not in there as well. Jackson County Central, it's about 5 minutes from the Minnesota-Iowa border, or Jackson, Minnesota is, and I mean, I-35 and I mean to Ames is not a bad drive at all for from Jackson there. I mean, don't even really take 35, but and that might be just as that might be the closest freaking drive for him to another Power Five program here. And I mean, Iowa's not far away either. Lincoln, Nebraska either. I know with Matt Rule, I would have thought he would have recruited him heavier just because he always has he's always pretty heavy into that Midwestern kid recruiting. But it's nice to see the Gophers really applying a lot of pressure to him. I think a lot of it with Alabama is the Kalen DeBoer effect type of stuff, and I'm hoping the Gophers can edge him out here. So.
oh, for sure, and it's that is important, and we probably shouldn't give him any more ideas on which schools to go to besides the Gophers.
Mm.
And it's not even him just as an athlete. You got the Pierce Peterson from Triton, Minnesota.
Yeah, Peterson, another small school athlete that know is really kind of rising up the ranks as he goes to more camps this summer, and schools are starting to take notice. And it's cool to see the Gophers are probably sending him the house for him again. Super raw prospect. Um, you know, I eh, I'll be honest, him and Voss, if they're not from Minnesota, they're probably they're probably, I mean, five-star kids, let's be completely honest. I mean, Minnesota doesn't have the greatest reputation of being a great recruiting state. I mean, you look at, I mean, yeah, but
Oh,
it sounds like he's kind of down in Minnesota and Penn State right now, which with Peter's zone. So I'm hoping the Gophers can end up stealing him as well. That'd be a really big pickup for us, and you know Gophers has been seeming to have a lot of luck with local kids as of recently. So,
no, exactly, and it's that was Fleck's big selling point when he got here was building that wall around Minnesota. Because what is Fleck's current streak of getting the top prospect in Minnesota?
so I want to say we're at 2 or 3 to row right now. Um,
And we're gonna give him Jackson Howard. He came here after a year.
yep,
We'll give him that.
I'll give him that. I will definitely give him that.
Yeah.
See, you got Coy Parrott,
And he wasn't any good, was he?
right? Oh, in last year's recruiting class, we got the top three with Emmanuel Carmel from Cooper, four-star kid, Ethan Stendel, Caledonia, number 2 player. I compare him and Peterson to each other a lot. Two small school kids. They actually played each other last year, and was a very, very good football game. I was uh, in tune to that one. So, and yeah, then we also got a kid out of Osseo from Heritage Christian Academy, Abu uh, Torwale, a D lineman. So, I mean, top 3 kids last year, and let's go at 2024. Obviously, Coy Parrish. I mean, I don't know if there's enough you can say much more there. I
That
mean,
that wall around Minnesota is getting less and less leaks, and that's a very promising sign if you are a Gophers fan.
And yeah, I mean, look at 2023. You said involved. We keep Jackson Howard here, and he left for a year, came back, and I'd say we kept that wall around Minnesota there. And but then think about it, we also got the top three players below him in the rankings too, though, in that class. So that's going 3 years in a row there. So
Yeah. I mean, once we're past the eras of the Joe Alts, the Bryce Benharts, he has had a really good track record of recruiting in-state in Minnesota.
Mhm. But yeah, but then it's like you look at the year of Bryce Benhart, no shame to him, he was a 4-year starter for Nebraska. But did he pan out the way a lot of people thought he would? And he wasn't, this unruly NFL draft. He wasn't this NFL draft prospect that scouts were drooling over. I honestly thought, 'cause he was the same draft class or recruiting class as Quentin Carroll. And, Quentin Carroll ended up coming back to the Gophers after going to Notre Dame. So I thought that, that was really cool for the Gophers to get him to come back. And he was also obviously a big contributor in the O-line these past few years. So,
For sure, and it's not giving up on guys once you lose the initial recruiting battle because the way college football is, there might be another recruiting battle. And if you can
mhm,
also win that one, can you win the war?
mhm. Yeah, then I mean, even going back to 2019 Gopher teams, I mean, look at some of the best players on those teams. 2018, Blake Cashman out of Eden Prairie. 2019, Tyler Johnson out of Minneapolis North. I mean, yeah, also 2019, Carter Coughlin out of Eden Prairie. I mean, these kids are, these local Minnesota kids are coming here. They can be as high rated as they want. Carter Coughlin was a 4-star. He developed tremendously here and made himself into a very good player. Obviously, still playing in the NFL. And I mean, you look at Blake Cashman. He was a walk-on safety, and he developed. And I mean, he's in what year 7 in the NFL right now, playing for his hometown team. I mean. Now that's kind of yeah, walk-on safety to coming out of high school and turn into what's he playing? What do you play? Mike linebacker senior year, all conference, and so the development here at Minnesota is under Coach Fleck especially has been something you can't deny.
No, exactly, and it's what makes the Gophers important, and that's what is important is being able to recruit your homegrown guys and being able to retain them.